Is it working now? All right, good morning. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. Having a little troubleshooting issues with the webcam. Looks like it's working now. Sorry. On my screen, there appears to be lines showing and some weirdness on my YouTube, so I'm just trying to make sure that it's not projecting everywhere. Just 1 second. Okay. I think that did it. For anybody who is on the other side, if you can please let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me, that the webcam is working just fine. It's just on my side of the screen. It looks extremely funky right now. Um, all right. So I typed it in the message just in case you can't hear me, but I'm just asking if everything is good because I want to make sure that everything is working, obviously, before starting class. Okay. Maybe it's a. I'm very sorry for anybody who is experiencing normalness and then there's just a random thumb. It's just on my end, things are not focusing on my camera and there's weird lines and it keeps kind of closing out the camera a little bit. So if there is a viewer on the other end that could be kind enough to message or reply back if the camera is working. Okay, actually, let me see if we just need a little more light or something. Alrighty. Alright, sorry for the weird silence. I just want to get this camera thing figured out. Okay, it looks like it's working now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this class started. Sorry for starting a little bit on the later side. Camera's just being a little funky over there. Yeah. But good morning and welcome to the morning flow of my class. My name is Julia, if you haven't taken my class before. And then if you are my regular Tuesday members, well, welcome. It's at least nice to be able to share this presence with you. Yeah, So if you could go ahead and as you're getting settled in, I would go ahead for yourself, grab a strap. I'm using my fitness rope here, and so you can use anything that's strap like if you don't have your own yoga strap, like a tie or maybe a scarf. If you have blocks, I recommend bringing. Is that your knuckle? Oh my god, I hate this thing. Okay. It's this bone knuckle that he loves to chew, but it's everywhere. Sorry. And blocks, if you have your blocks, good. And then I would also grab a blanket for a little comfort and maybe like a pillow for some added comfort too as we go through some of our asanas today. Good. And so, just opening up my notes here. So today, what we are going to be working with is we are going to be working with some lateral flexion today. So specifically, what I would like for us to open up with today's class is opening up into the side body area. So we recently spent our weeks here in this quarantine in my segments working with core and stability, working with balancing poses, and we spent a week on twists and with the twists working with some revolved asanas. And so today what we're going to primarily focus on is focusing on some asanas that help us open up more through the side body so that we can work more with stability into our spine. So specifically when we work through lateral flexion, that lateral flow flexion, it helps us improve our lumbopelvic stability. So and working with lower back pain relief, and with our lumbar pelvic stability, if it is unstable, so like anywhere from like your lumbar spine and your pelvic, that could cause some acute spinal injury throughout time, and some of that can be like a sharp lower back pain, and then maybe some spinal disc degeneration, and and also you can possibly get some knee injury as well if we aren't as stable and strong into our lumbopelvic area. And how we get knee pain is from that is when we walk, and if we're unstable into our lower spine and we have this roundness in our spine and this hunching going on, we're not sending all of the force of the energy of walking our feet going up our spine. Instead, it's kind of getting blocked and stuck here, and that can cause some of that sharpness and acute spinal pain. And so, specifically, what we're going to be working on with our primary muscles today is working with our external and internal obliques. That we're going to be working with our quadratus lumborum, which are the muscles that connect our spine to the pelvic, and just our erector spinae, which that one's easy for us to know. That is the muscles of our spine. Okay. And working with these deep side bends can also create some flexibility with our rib cage so that we are able to fully experience our breath instead of keeping it shallow and stuck into our shoulders, which can cause us some tightness and some stress since we aren't receiving our full breath. So many benefits of what these side bends and openings are going to work for us today. So you can go ahead as you grab your tools. We have our blocks, strap, and our blanket. Good. You can go ahead and find a comfortable seat onto our mat here today. And if you want to take a block or that pillow or blanket underneath your sitting area, you can go ahead and invite that here, allowing the spine to be nice and tall. Already working with that stability and that strength here. And as we work with the stability of our lower spine and our side bodies today, we want to work with the stability starting from the ground level. So making sure that in your sitting area that we are even on both of the hips, whether on the block or on the floor. A very minimal tailbone tuck, just very slight, allowing your spine to erect. So making your spine come up towards the ceiling, the shoulders as they creep up. We're going to rotate them back. A long neck here. And you can go ahead and start to close your eyes. And begin to find these very deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Allowing the full expansion of your ribcage to be present. Yeah, see, doesn't that feel good in your spine? And so as we start to breathe here and create some of the stability, we want to find a little bit of that core engagement into our stomach area, well, obviously where our core is, but we want to work more inward with the internal obliques, making sure that we engage inward to bring our muscles towards our spine instead of just making our stomach rock solid. So transcending that energy back to your spine to help keep us lifted here, nice and strong. A lot of us may have been sedentary from either sitting on the couch or even if you work in an office and you spend most of your day sitting, these side bends are going to, over time, if you continue your practice, work wonders on your spine, your sitting area, and how we move throughout our body. Just taking a couple more breaths here, finding your grounding. So then as we envision through each inhale, getting longer to the spine, we're going to take our palms up to the T. We're going to inhale, rise, bringing our arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to keep the arms up towards the ceiling and the shoulders still away from our ears. Go straightening out through the arms. So if you have some bending into the arm, bringing the arms up straight, shoulders into socket, and very slowly start to bring your arms up. We want to feel nice and energetic and strong throughout the arms. So if we create any weak points, then we're not really opening up through the shoulders like we should. So continuing to have your strong arms engage into the shoulders. We're going to start our practice here by finding that spinal length and the opening up through the thoracic spine. So as we breathe again, finding the extension of our spine, maybe the crown is going towards the ceiling, lifting up through the chest, and maybe taking our arms more towards the back of the room. Good. And then as we acquire this warmth into our arms for this heated pose, you're going to go ahead and keep your left arm to the ceiling and bring your right hand to the mat. Good. And as we find that flat right palm, we're going to inhale, stretch the left arm all the way up towards the ceiling and then towards the right side, getting into our first side body stretch. We want to make sure that both of our hips are either on the block or on your prop or on the floor. Wherever your hips are connected to, making sure that everything is grounded here. And that we're lifting up through the spine, through the side body, taking our breaths. And we're going to hold some of these side poses for a good amount of breaths today. So taking things nice and slow. If we've been snuggled up on either the couch, the bed, or in our office, stuck in our chair. 2 more breaths. Good. Inhale, rise, both arms towards the ceiling. And we're going to lower our left hand to the mat, keeping our right arm lifted, making sure that we're all structured onto the mat here. And once you are all said and done, you can inhale, rise through the right arm, flatten the right paw, is start to slowly bend over towards the left side. So on each exhale, you're going to notice some more expansion of your side muscles here. So after each exhale, maybe coming deeper into the side body, into the asana. Lifting it through the chest as we bend and bringing the arm active and back. So if it's not active, then we are missing the benefits of opening up through the thoracic area, specifically with our serratus anterior and with our muscles that connect our shoulders to the spine. So make it nice and active, staying here for a few more breaths. Good. Making sure that both knees are on the ground, the hips are on the ground. Two more breaths. And then inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling, and palms together. We're going to create the Kali Mudra. So a little finger gun here, and take your arms towards the ceiling, and then point the fingers towards the back of the room. Still having that tailbone tuck and sending your obliques towards your spine here. And that's so we can find our strong stability so that we're not overly tilting into our pelvic area, opening up more through the shoulders. Good. And then as we open up through the shoulders, we're going to take those interlaced hands and place them behind our head to open up through the chest. Taking your couple breaths here. And then on an inhale, we're going to lift up through the chest and keeping our arms active, closing our scapula as if we're holding a pencil between our shoulders. So we're staying nice and active and strong here, opening up through the chest for 3 breaths. Find that engagement here into the core area, sending the energy back towards your spine. And the next inhale, we're going to inhale, drop the right elbow towards the ground and bring in the left elbow towards the ceiling. Trying to root through the knees and through the hips. Good. And this one's going to be a little more difficult for some of us, so making sure that we have that full support. And we're getting deeper to the side body, mainly underneath the arms here, more than we are throughout the whole entire spine. Good. So getting that thoracic mobility. There is little that there is a lot that we can work with the thoracic spine, but with mobility, it takes a little bit at a time so that we can open up throughout the thoracic spine and the ribcage throughout that area. Next breath, inhale. Bring your elbows out to the side, and on the exhale, we're going to take our left elbow down and bring in our right elbow up. Staying here for about 5 breaths. Being nice and strong with your breath, your elbows are active towards the back of the room. Rooting through the knees, rooting through the hips. Good, and then next breath, inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release. Bringing the hands to the knees, around through the spine, cat spine, chin to chest. Shoulders are still away from the ears. The inhale, bringing the chest up like you would in cow. Eye gaze towards the ceiling. Good, then exhale, sitting cat. Inhale into your cow. And go through 3 more at your own pace, your own breath of sitting cat cows. And then as you go through your own movements here, you then go ahead and find yourself onto a tabletop position. And then in your tabletop position here, we're going to go ahead and just come into a normal tabletop position and just do 3 rounds of cows here. So inhale, bringing the chest forward and tailbone up, cow. And then exhale into your cat, round through the spine, tailbone up. Do 3 at your own pace, your own breath. And then after you have done 3 cat cows. You can then go ahead and meet your knees into the center here to touch. So if it's more comfortable, you can grab that blanket and place it underneath your knees here. And then from here, as we connect our knees and our feet into the center, we can go ahead and take our arms to a nice wide Y. So your hands may come off of the mat here. Good. And before we go ahead and do that, I should say it might feel more comfortable if we engage the core, come into the supported plank position, getting strong into your spine, and then bringing our arms up to the side. Okay. So as we create this Y shape, and find that engagement through the spine so that we're not just dipping into the hips, getting nice and strong. We're going to inhale, send our hips to the left side as we press our right hand into the forward mat. Good. Inhale, come to the center, and exhale. Bring the hips over to the right side, pressing your left hand into the mat. Good. Inhale to the center, and exhale, send the hips over to the left side. Good. Inhale to the center, and you know what to do. Go to the right side. You can go ahead at your own pace, your own breath. Getting these good hip sways inside to side, stretching out underneath the arms. Finding that engagement in to and surrounding the core so that we can strengthen up the obliques here. You're going to do 2 more on each side. Keeping the arms nice and straight. Good. And we can come back to the center, bringing the hips back, arms forward, come into an active child's pose. So curl the toes. Hands are nice and active onto the mat. Finding a deep opening into the shoulders here. So we don't just want to go limb. We want to be nice and active with our arms. Good. And breathing in towards the shoulders. Good. Walking your hands over to the left side of the mat, placing our right hand on top of the left, getting more underneath the right arm. Good. So for today, for this morning, we're just finding mostly gentle poses to help us expand and open up more throughout our spine. So for any stiffness or weakness that we feel throughout this time, we can find an energetic and playful and light experience to open it up to start your Tuesday morning. And then later on in the night to experience some more action, you can come back to my night class and we can experience more of a workout with this sequence. Good. And if I didn't guide you to the right side, you could go ahead and guide yourself to the right side with the left hand on top of the right hand. Nice. And if you go ahead and release the hands, coming back to the active child's pose, around through the shoulders, come into that supported plank here. With the supported plank, come into full plank. Bend the knees generously. Bring the tailbone up. Keep the knees bent so we can stretch out through the spine. Pressing the hands into the mat. Releasing any of the creases from your wrists. Good. Setting the tailbone nice and high to the sky, and also sending your chest towards the ground, in between your shoulder blades. Good. Engaging through the quads. And then once you're ready here, you can go ahead and start to straighten up through your legs one at a time, releasing and opening up the hamstrings. To get more into the side body, into your downward facing dog. You can also bring your feet at warrior angles. So bringing ankles to each side, stretching out more underneath the armpits here. Now try to stretch out here. You then bend the knees, gaze forward, and start to take your hops to the front of the mat into your forward fold. And if you have your blocks here, or maybe a step stool, something to keep you a little more stable, you can then go ahead and take the blocks to the front of the mat. Find the figure 7 shape here. So getting your feet hip length apart, hands onto the thighs, and start to bring your tailbone back, bringing your chest forward, but also down. Good. And then we're finding your blocks here so we can find that straight spine, straight legs, finding engagement in through the quads here. And just gently pressing your hands onto the blocks, taking your eye gaze forward. We're just taking a few breaths here so that we can get a deeper stretch into the hamstrings. And as you press your hands onto the block to bring your chest forward, it helps us find this hip hinge here so that we're not just rounding through the back and trying to come down. We're creating that strength in from our ankles and our quads, but also the flexibility more into our hip flexors here. And again, we're going to take things nice and gentle and slow today. 2 more breaths. Good. Hands onto the blocks. Inhale, find that half lift. And then exhale, that forward fold, hands pressing into the blocks. Bend the knees generously. We're going to inhale, rise into a chair position. So find that core engagement. If your knees are splaying outwards, just bring them forward. And bring the tailbone back so we can see the tops of our feet here. So bring our arms towards the ceiling. Good. 2 more breaths. And then inhale, rise all the way up, arms towards the ceiling here. Good. And then palms to the heart center. Exhale, Samasthiti. And then as we're here, inhale, rise, bring your arms back up towards the ceiling. Maybe create a back bend here. Good. And then exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, hands onto the blocks again. Okay. Find that inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, rise into your chair. As you're in your chair, bring your palms to the heart center here. And inhale, start to guide your left elbow to the right thigh into your first twist. As we find this twist, we want to make sure, so if we can all bring our palms back into the heart center here, find a new movement for our twist. As we move through our twist, we want to move through our lower rib cage and then extend that energy to our chest to move on our twist so that we can find that length in our spine, that we're not just moving from our upper body and our shoulders. That could restrict breath, and here we're trying to find the lengthening in our spine in our practice today. Good. 2 more breaths. And inhale, find that length through the spine to come and bring you back forward. Length through the spine, bringing the chest to the left side. Good. Left elbow to hinge. Or right elbow to hinge onto the left thigh. Take 3 more breaths here. And then inhale, palms to the heart center. Bring your arms forward and rise all the way up into your high mountain. Back bend if you wish. And then exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, bringing that tailbone back, chest forward. Hands to the mat here. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're just getting a lot of movement here into the lower spine, stretching on out. Hands to the thigh. Inhale, half lift. Guide your chest forward and press your hands into your thighs. At the same time, your thighs into your hands. And we're getting more of the hamstring stretch specifically behind our quads. We're hugging at the quads and lifting our kneecaps here. And we're getting a stretch from your lower spine. Good. Stretching out the psoas here. Getting the lumbar pelvic stretched out. Good. 2 more breaths. Take inhale, chest forward, and then exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. Maybe grabbing onto the back of the calves this time. Leading with your chest down, tailbone up. Good. Inhale, half lift, palms up, all the way rise. And as you bring your arms up towards the ceilings, you can't really see the upper body here. There we go. Just a little higher. Here, I'll come this way. There we go. As we bring our arms up towards the ceilings here, you want to go ahead and take the right leg over the left. And then from here, as our left leg is over the right leg is over the left, we're going to go ahead and grab our right wrist or maybe our right arm and bring it up towards the ceiling. Good. And as we inhale, we're going to inhale, stretch your body over towards the left side of the room. So lifting up through the chest, shoulders away from the ears, again, a good side body in. Good. Getting more into the lower body, right underneath our rib cage. Good. And you can also create the Kali Mudra gun if that feels more comfortable for you. Making sure that our arms are straight, staying here for 3 more breaths. We're going to hug at the quads. We're going to hug at the thighs here as we stretch, creating that stability. And then on the next inhale, rise, keeping the legs weaved here. And then on the next breath, we're going to exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, maybe grabbing onto your blocks again. So right leg over the left, hip hinge, forward fold, grabbing onto the blocks. So we can lead with our chest, engage the quads. Bring your tailbone up towards the ceiling, towards the back and towards the ceiling. Good. Couple more breaths. And then inhale, find that half lift. And then exhale, forward fold once more. As we are here into this forward fold, we're going to find our peace fingers, so our number 2s, and we're going to inhale, walk ourselves over towards the right side of the room. 3 breaths. Good. After the 3 breaths, you're going to go ahead and walk yourself to the left side of the room, keeping your hips square. Nice. And then walking back to the center. Inhale, find that half lift, bring the tailbone back, chest forward, exhale, forward fold, palms up, inhale, rise into your high mountain. And then you go ahead and release the feet and just kind of walk your hips side to side, ankle roll out here. Might feel a little tense into the left ankle, so go ahead and shake it all out. Yeah. And then from here, you're just going to take it to the opposite side now. So this time we're going to take the left leg over our right side. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling, grabbing onto either to the left wrist, forearm, or Kali Mudra, the gun. I'm Charlie, you're my angel. Let's bring the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Good. And finding this spinal extension. And then once you find that comfortable space here, we can inhale, start to guide our body over towards the right side of the room. So we can now get more of a spinal flexion. Setting the arms towards the back of the room, shoulders away from the ears, making the neck nice and long. Once you find that comfortable spot, add 3 breaths. You're like, comfortable? What's comfortable? I've been on my couch, sitting at my desk. Nothing comfortable about this. Yeah, find comfort here. Next breath, inhale, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And go ahead, hip hinge, take a bow for yourself. Maybe find your blocks here. Okay. Inhale, find that half lift. And then exhale, find that forward fold. Finding your peace fingers onto the ground, let's go ahead and walk our fingers towards the left side of the room. Hugging at the hips, tailbones up. Good. After the 3 breaths, go ahead and walk yourself over towards the right side of the room. Good. And then exhale, come back forward, hands to the shins. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, forward fold. palms to the hearts or palms to the side. Inhale, rise all the way up. And you go ahead and release the legs. Go ahead and shake the hips up side to side. Roll up through the ankles at the same time. To do anything to help reset yourself here. Blocks are still at the front of the mat. And as your blocks are at the front of the mat here, then go ahead and kind of take things a little down a notch. There we go. You go ahead and inhale, find that hip hinge, forward fold, all the way to the blocks. Let's go ahead and take our left leg back, coming into this lunge here. Good. So lifting up through the back thigh, engaging the quad, a little bit of the butt cheek here. Good. Keep the right knee back. From here, we're going to go ahead, flat left palm, so you can bring the block, make it nice and flat. And inhale, bring the right arm to the ceiling. As we come into this twist, we want to lean more with the chest towards the right side so we can find that extension throughout the spine as you rotate. And then from the spinal twist, we're going to go ahead and take the right arm and pendulum swing it down towards the front of the room. Good. So getting a little deeper to the hip crease. Right arm forward. You can take your eye gaze up to the right thumb as well. Opening up through the chest. 2 more breaths. And then placing the right hand onto the block here. Good. So coming back into this running lunge position. Let's go ahead and keep the right hand onto the block. So let's go ahead and flatten the block to its side. So nice and fat here. And pressing the right knee into our right arm into our right knee. Let's drop our left foot at that warrior diagonal, opening up more into the hips here and more into the side body. So we're going to rotate the chest over towards the left and then bring the left arm towards the ceiling. And if it's more comfortable for you, you can also slide the left block so that the left arm is on the inside of the knee. And that will help open up more through the chest too, if that's for you this morning. You're creating some space between your hips, opening up more through the spine. And then once you feel comfortable here, nice and strong, you can then pendulum swing that left arm down towards the front of the room, just like we did with the right arm. Rooting through the left pinky toe all the way up through the left pinky finger and taking your eye gaze up to meet the finger. 5 breaths. Nice and strong and sending that energy. Keeping the front knee bent. Nice. And after the 5 breaths, you can then go ahead and bring that left arm back to the mat, lifting up through the left ankle. Go ahead and re-square at the hips here. I'm going to drop the left knee, top of the left foot, and then in this Anjaneyasana prep, we're just going to go ahead and put our blocks up to the side levels here. And we're just going to go for a half splits, keeping our chest lifted here. Bring in our tailbone back and straightening out through the right leg. Got that right quad engagement, right foot engagement, where we're either flexing the toes towards the front of the mat or bringing them up towards the ceiling. We want to keep that chest lifted so we're not just like hunching here. So having the blocks for support. As we take 1 breath with the spine lifted, hands to the blocks, you're going to exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, trying to bring our chest towards our shin and our crown past our feet. We're not actually going to get there. It's just the mental movement to help keep the spine straight. And if you can, I want to see it. It's definitely going to look cool. Okay. Now, the next breath, we're going to come into the Anjaneyasana prep and making sure that I kind of lift it through the shirt here so that you can see a little better. Give it a little tuck underneath here, a little funness here. So that if you see throughout the lower spine, as we hinge forward, we don't want to have this overarch into the spine and we don't want to dip our hips down. We want to keep the structure for the stability of our lumbar pelvic area. We want to bring the right hip crease back, tipping. Left hip crease forward, right hip crease back. And we're going to want a very minimal tailbone tuck and lift up through the chest to find that core engagement. So we're nice and as neutral as we can without overarching and just dumping into our hip. So as we are nice and strong here, we're going to go ahead and take the hands onto the block so we can help lift up through the spine. And very slowly, we want to isometrically drag our back leg towards the front of the room so that we can find more space to work with by lengthening our spine instead of just dumping into the hips. Good. 2 more breaths. And if you feel nice and strong enough, engage the core and inhale, rise, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe create a little back bend if you want to here. Maybe the Kali Mudra will serve you. Pressing the top of your left foot to the ground, bottom of your right foot. The exhale, hip hinge, hands onto the blocks here, creating another half split series. Chest is up. And then guiding yourself into a hip hinge, if you would like, into your half splits. Good. And then inhale, halfway lift. And from here, we're going to go ahead and walk the blocks to the left side and kickstand your left leg, bringing your right toes towards the side of the mat. Good. So we have our left leg supporting us here. Have our right leg extended out, and our foot is nice and flat and stable. So as we make sure that we have that strong structure into our pelvic area, very minimal tailbone tuck, and lifting up through the chest here. We don't want to dip out. We want to find that inner core, not just the surface of your stomach, but inner core, like in your internal and external obliques. We want to get them nice and engaged here. Let's go through the chest and rising up through the arms. And just like you would in a reverse warrior, we're going to take our right hand down our thigh and inhale, extend our left arm towards our right foot. Good, lifting up through the chest as we breathe, so lifting as we bend here. Good, 3 more breaths. And we're going to inhale, rise, bringing both arms towards the ceiling. And then we're going to guide our right arm down, coming into Ardha Chandrasana variation. So left hand is flat to the ground, flex the right foot, and lift it up here, engaging through the quads, kicking the right foot back, and bringing the right arm towards the ceiling. Good. Core engagement for 3, 2, don't forget to breathe here. And for 1. All right. We're going to go ahead and bend at the right foot. We're going to grab on top of the right foot. And inhale, open it up through the chest. Get that good quad stretch here. For 3 breaths, pressing the right foot into the right hand. And then you can release by coming back to the half moon. And then dropping the right foot down. Engage the core. Inhale, rise, arms towards the ceiling. And then we're going to walk our hands down here, coming into, with the upper body, into a downward facing dog. So keeping the legs where they're at. And just bringing your hips up into the air and bringing your arms down. For 3 breaths. Good. And then we're going to walk our hands back. And then coming back into that half splits variation, bending at the right knee. And go ahead and curl the left toes. And then we're going to send the right leg back. Coming into your plank position. And then as we're here into our plank, we're going to go ahead and drop the knees. Bringing our forearms to the ground. And as our forearms are to the ground, we're going to go ahead and straighten up the legs, coming into a forearm plank. Good. Sending the knees, or sending the ankles back, engaging the core. Lifting up through the booty here, just a little bit. We don't want a TB action going on. We don't also want hammock, so I'd be nice and strong. Shoulders are above the elbows. Good. And then from here, we're going to go onto the side of our right foot. And we're coming into a side forearm plank. And you can keep the right hand towards the front of the mat, or you can kickstand it in if that feels better for you. And as we find this core engagement, we're going to lift up through the right hips, getting that side body underneath, and bringing the left arm towards the ceiling. 3 breaths. Go ahead and place the left hand down, come back onto your forearms, and go onto the left side, either left arm forward or kickstanding it in. And bring your right arm towards the ceiling. Good. And after 3 breaths, coming back into your forearm. And we're going to come into a dolphin plank here. So bringing your chest down, tailbone is up. And you can walk your feet as close as you can towards your chest. So you find that quad engagement, keeping your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Chest is in between the shoulders. 3 breaths. Good. And we're going to bend at the knees, child's pose for 2 breaths. Good. And then coming onto your hands and knees into tabletop position. We're going to bend the knees generously, bring your tailbone up towards the sky. Downward facing dog, pedaling out through the legs. Getting those warrior feet, ankles side to side to get underneath your armpits here. And we're going to bend the knees, gaze forward, at the hop, step, walk to the front of the mat, Uttanasana, forward fold. Making sure that your blocks are in front of the mat here. Good. Finding this hip hinge, forward fold. Inhale, find a half lift. And then exhale, forward fold. You're going to bend at the knees, palms facing up, and then inhale, rise all the way up into your high mountain. Good. And then we're going to come to the hip hinge, forward fold, hands onto the block. We're going to take the right leg back this time. Good. Coming into that running lunge. We're going to place the blocks nice and flat here. We're going to flatten the right hand. Inhale, rise, left arm towards the ceiling. And as we guide with the chest towards the ceiling, left arm up. Once you feel sturdy, you can then pendulum swing your left arm down to the front of the mat here. Good. Hugging at the butt cheeks. Engaging the thighs. 3 breaths. As we stretch here, we can then go ahead and take the left hand either to the outside or the inside of the left foot, whatever feels the most comfortable. Coming onto the warrior diagonal with your right foot. Good. Opening up the chest first to the right side, then bringing your right arm towards the ceiling. Then once we find this here, we can go ahead and inhale, pendulum swing the right arm towards the front of the mat. Rooting through the right pinky toe all the way to the right pinky hand. Find your 3 breaths here. And then very gently placing the right hand back down. And then dropping the right knee in your Anjaneyasana prep. You could take the blocks to the outside of your feet, of your left foot. Coming into that Anjaneyasana prep here. Lifting up through the chest. Good. Making sure that we're not overarching into the low spine, that we're lifting up through the rib cage. Shoulders are back. Once you feel strong and sturdy, you can bring your arms up into Anjaneyasana. You can also create a back bend if you wish here. Good. Counting to 3 breaths. Then you're going to exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. We're going to come into half splits, leading with a straight spine. So chest is lifted, the tailbone is back, toes pointed forward or towards the front of the room, or front of the room or towards your face. Then on our next breath, we're going to go ahead and we're going to rebend at the front knee. We're going to take our blocks, we're going to walk them, just bringing them over towards the right corner of the mat. And then from here, we're going to kickstand our right foot towards the back of the room. Our left leg goes straight and showing the back side this time. We're going to extend the left leg out straight, having the foot nice and flat onto the mat here, nice and strong engagement. Right hip is underneath our body. And as we inhale, rise, bringing our arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring the left hand down the thigh and inhale. Laterally flex our right hand towards the left side of the room. Lifting up through the chest and bringing the arm back as we bend here. Two more breaths. Inhale, rise, both arms towards the ceiling. We're going to lower our right hand to the ground, coming into half moon variation. Flexing at the left hip, or the left quad, left foot, left arm towards the ceiling. Bring the left foot back to the ground. And then we're going to inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to exhale, hip hinge. And my pole's in the way, but in this hip hinge, we're going to just take our hands down like you would in downward facing dog, keeping our left foot onto the mat, bringing our tailbone up, stretching out through the spine, engaging through the quads. 3 breaths. Good. Then inhale, walk your hands back and rise all the way up. Arms towards the ceiling. Good. Then we're going to go ahead and find ourselves back at that half splits. So bringing our left leg back forward here. So find yourselves at the half splits, grabbing onto the blocks. Lifting up through the chest, toes are pointed forward or towards your face. Good. And as we find the slip through the chest, we can also find a hip hinge here where we can walk the blocks either forward to help us hip hinge, bringing our chest forward, or bringing it back towards our thigh, pressing our hands into the blocks, guiding our chest forward. A few different ways here. Good. 2 more breaths. And we're going to go ahead and start to walk ourselves back into the Anjaneyasana prep. You can take the blocks to the front of the mat here. I'm going to go ahead and take the left leg back into your plank. If you wanted to go through a vinyasa flow, you can if you wish. Coming into a downward facing dog. Bending at the knees. Coming into tabletop, and you're just going to very gently just bring your booty onto the ground because we're close to the end of our practice here today. I had to execute a few asanas to fit in everybody's schedules. I'm sorry for the camera delay in the beginning of class. But we got the nighttime classes that you can come back for. Good. And so what we're going to do for this Shavasana is if you have your block, you can take one of the blocks towards the top of the mat here. And if you have your blanket, you can fold your blanket, and you can fold them into 3 ways. So like tri-fold your blanket so that it's nice and thick and square, that your whole back can fit onto it. And you're going to place the top of the blanket to the top of the block for a little pillow, and then Your spine is going to rest on this flatter part of the blanket. So you can go ahead and position and find yourself onto your mat here, wherever is comfortable. And then very gently hugging your knees into your chest. Good. Very slowly, we're going to take our right hand to the T. We're going to inhale. Just guide the knees a little bit to the left side. We don't want to roll off of our prop. We just want a little bit of a twist. 3 breaths. Inhale. Bring the left arm to the T. Hold on to the thighs and inhale. A very little twist to the right side, but we're not going to fall over. Good. And then go ahead and hug the knees back in. And then as you are hugged here, you can go ahead and grab your feet and come into a supported happy baby pose. Where your neck is supported, we got some support into our spine. So bringing our knees in towards our elbows, bringing our tailbone towards the ground here. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. And you can do anything that you want as happy baby. If you wanted to make it into a butterfly pose instead, more than welcome to bring that into your practice. And then you can go ahead and straighten out through the legs so that we are in an inverted Dandasana here, and maybe an inverted Paschimottanasana if you guide your thighs closer to your chest. Toes are pointed. And then bringing your arms up above your head and very slowly bringing your toes all the way down to the ground. I'm going to take a deep breath. Inhale, guide your arms above your head. Point your toes to the front of the mat. Deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Very soft and sweetly bringing your hands either onto your stomach or to your sides. Taking this next few moments here in your Shavasana. And as we are here lying in our Shavasana, I picked this gentle class for this morning just to recognize how yoga itself is movement. That when we move on our mats, we open our bodies to celebrate the fact that we are embodied feelings and beings. That with and without, we are pulsing with movement. That the flow of our breath and our blood, the placing of our hands and our feet on the mats, and the arranging of our limbs, the shifting of our weight throughout our movement is our movement. That with our movement, we create connections in our bodies from the top to the bottom, the front to the back. Our movements may be strong and muscular, delicate and graceful, sinuous or abrupt. Our bodies are in a constant state of motion, and throughout our yoga practice, we begin to move in a more conscious and articulate way. So as we begin to find these micro movements from our toes and our ankles, our fingers and our wrists, just allowing yourselves to reap in the benefits of today's practice, allowing us to feel what those conscious movements have brought into our body for the start of our day. And if you go ahead and take a deep breath, inhale, bring your arms above your head, toes in towards your chest, and letting it out with a cleansing sound. Very gently guiding your knees either to the left or to the right side. Very softly coming off of your prop. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and guide yourself to a comfortable seated position. Bringing your palms to the heart center and taking a bow for yourself for making it to today's class. And allowing peace and health to be present throughout your day. And namaste. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time to take care of yourself today. I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. And in the meantime, if you do have any questions, comments, if you have any requests for tonight's class, you're more than welcome to hit me up on my personal Instagram. It's Climbing Santosha. I'll go ahead and I'll see you later. Bye.